got passed by TCU to become the first Texas school to make the college football playoff, just as we all predicted when the college football playoff came about, that the Frogs would end up making it first. But Matt Green, you kind of
right. Baylor should have made the very first one too, and none of them got in there before TCU.
No, it was the Hypno-Toads. They made it through. A&M though, by Petrino enters the fold here. Jim Chaney, I think, is like an offensive analyst at A&M now. You've got DJ Durkin calling the defense. You've got talent everywhere. Matt Green. They lost some stuff to the portal, but guess what? I was going through it. A&M, there's a lot of reason for optimism here. Like, I think, look, A&M fans, I know you've heard this before, but, like, there is a lot of reasons for optimism. I know you are a pretty big fan of the Bobby Petrino offensive coordinator hire, Matt Green. Here's the thing. When you look at this and how their season went last year, obviously 5-7 missed a bowl game, unacceptable at A&M. They've got talent in the right spots. They are loaded in the trenches with talent. Like, you look at it, 5-star, and productive dudes on both sides of the ball there. That's going to be huge come SEC time, where I'm like, this is a good starting point. And then you get Bama at home again. We know what happened the last time they got Bama at home in College Station. They got to win. So that's nice. You got to go to Tennessee, which we talked about. That's going to be I would say that's probably their biggest game of the year. Like, that's going to be a big test because you want to be able to see that you can win in a shootout against a now juggernaut in Neyland. Obviously, it's just going to be a crazy environment for A&M and Tennessee. So we'll see what that looks like for them. But that's a big one for the Aggies. I think 10-2 with some help puts them in the CFP conversation. Like, I don't know if it gets them in, but, like, we forget, Matt Green, a couple years ago, they were knocking on the door in the COVID year of making the college football playoff. They have flirted with it in the Jimbo era. It's not like it's been 5-7, just not working out. We've seen the best, and the best is close to a college football playoff team. And part of that is because their defense is usually pretty good, borderline elite under this era. And that's why it's so frustrating, is that, like, it's a Jimbo, everything's about Jimbo, but it's like the defense has kept this thing even afloat because of how tough the offense is. So if Bobby Petrino gives any kind of jolt, then you're suddenly really cooking with grease because of the players they already have in this system. Like Connor Wegman, 5-star kid, could be a star, we'll see. But, like, in the 5 games the Aggies won last year, Matt Green, they held opponents to 11 points per game. Like, that's top 10 in the country. I was just going through different things, and it's like, when they win, they smother you, and the defense is one of the best you'll see. They were the number 1 pass defense in the SEC last year. That's probably, I don't know if they'll be number 1 again, but you want to be the number 1 pass defense in the SEC if you want to win football games. So they have talent all across the board. They're coached well. Like, you could see it. Like, you could see A&M breaking through with another elite year from their defense in combination with their wideouts. Love their wideouts as well. Connor Wegman takes a step forward. The offensive line should be fine. The defensive line should be fine. I think the secondary will be elite once again. You're like, there is enough elements here that I think them breaking through and making the college football playoff, or at least being in the conversation come late November, is a distinct possibility. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I think when you were talking about Texas having the best trio of wide receivers in the country, like, A&M was probably the first team I thought of that they might have a better trio than Texas does. Like, they have playmakers, and Wegman, once he took over, the offense did look more competent. It's hard to say it ever looked good. They scored 30 points twice the whole season. So it was never really good, but at least had a pulse, and they had the big win over LSU. I think we know how they've recruited. And, yeah, like you said, I've been vocal on here before. The Bobby Petrino, Jimbo stuff, it's starting to feel like some of the Brian Kelly stuff we heard last year of, like, oh, it's look at this, look how he talks, look at the dancing, whatever. And it's like you forget that Brian Kelly was a damn good football coach at multiple destinations, just a very good coach by all accounts. And Bobby Petrino is one of the best offensive minds in college football the last decade plus, 2 decades that we've seen. So if that's clearly been A&M's biggest weakness has been the offensive side of the ball. You saw what a Todd Monken could come in and do what Georgia was on offense in 2019 and 2020. Well, 2020 was Monken, but still in the whole COVID and the Stetson Bennett and everything, Dwan Mathis kerfuffle. But you saw what the steps that Georgia's offense took under the right offensive coordinator. So I think A&M could see a similar, boost. And the biggest thing is a vulnerable Alabama in the SEC West, because it doesn't feel like the most juggernaut of juggernaut Alabama teams coming into 2023, and you have them at home. It's like sometimes you need to be more lucky than good, and things just kind of work out in your favor. Like every time LSU has made the playoff for the national championship, the game seems to be in the Superdome. I'm not sure how that works, but it happens every time. It's like sometimes things just align for you. So A&M, this could be the year. Like LSU, I would probably say is going to be the preseason favorite in the West, but it's going to be close with them and Alabama. So this is kind of it's probably more. I'd have to look at the the history of the voting, but I would say more of a mixed bag on like who the media is going to pick to win the SEC West next year, and that definitely works in their favor.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I mean, you make the case that it's a 4-team race, right? Like I would say LSU, Arkansas, Bama, and A&M. Like you can make.
I mean, it's hard to even put Arkansas in there. I would say Alabama, LSU, and A&M for sure. Obviously, A&M was at the bottom there or last year, but Arkansas is obviously going to think they can, and Auburn is Auburn. Like never gonna discount Auburn. Like who knows what they're capable of? Gus Malzahn year one they played for a national title, so That's true. Who knows with Auburn.
That's true. So we'll see. We
didn't even put Auburn on this list of potential playoff teams. Like they're definitely right. They're definitely right there where like a Florida is.
Well, no, this is the first appearance ever. They've made the playoff.
No, Auburn's never made the playoff.
Yes, they did.
No, 2013. That was the last BCS.
The Marshall year wasn't the playoff.
No, that was BCS. Florida State.
That's right.
Yeah, that was the last one.
I guess Auburn hasn't.
No, so they're definitely a candidate, just like Florida is. And
I forgot. I forgot about Auburn not being. Okay, well there you go. Auburn is.